We're back. We're back. We're online. We're online. Death Grips online. How's everyone doing? Hope y'all are doing well. Ed, welcome in. It's a Thursday. Oh man, love the Outrun starting screen. Thank you, sir. I didn't make it. This is actually a code sandbox someone made way back. This is a deep cut. But for the Astro 1.0 beta, Nate, I think it was Nate Moore, he made like a background that just said like Astro 1.0, and it had that speedrun background. And someone said, I'm going to go build that with WebGL. And I was like, okay. And then he published it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fork this super cool WebGL background, and I'm going to delete the words Astro 1.0 and just write starting soon. And I've kept it ever since because it looks good. So, you know, history's crazy, man. But it's super nice. Let me see if I can actually... Okay, I don't think I can copy it without switching to the starting soon screen. I need to be scared. Now make it with CSS. Yeah, I think it was made with React Fiber or React 3D, some library in React that lets you do 3D animations. And it was tough because Code Sandbox at the time really chugged on trying to like get the WebGL running and have an editor at the same time. It's gotten better. But yeah, I remember it took me like 30 minutes to just change the text. And then it was finally done. I was like, oh, thank God. I just copied the link and it's worked ever since. At some point, it's just going to like fail and we won't have a starting soon screen. But until then, it works. Pilcrow, welcome in. What's up, people? Good to see y'all. It's also good to have a whiteboard behind me right at the start of the stream. Does that feel good? I feel like that's a big improvement over where we started, where I had to like wheel in the whiteboard when people requested it and I couldn't get it to fit. Now we just got it. The whiteboard's always here. Feels ominous. He is an ominous man. He's an ominous man. Yeah, he's actually been side-eyeing me this whole time. Let me give that a little texture. How's that? Do you trust that man? Do you trust him? Do you trust that man? I don't know. I wouldn't trust him. I would not trust him. I trust him with my life, but maybe it's a mistake. You know, you got to think about these things. My depth perception was off. They're quite a bit further. Yeah, I know. It does look further behind me, probably because of like the camera and such. I'm gonna make him a little bit more in frame. How about that? Oh my God, Pilcrow, what the heck? Okay. All right. Well, we've got it here. Full pinky up. Look at this React Summit mug. Can we get some appreciation? Come on, focus on that. Focus on that. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. 1, 2. Slower? Okay. We got 2 more here. This is an ASMR stream now. 5. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop that now. I could do it 20 more times. Just redeem the whiteboard name. It's easier at scale. Man, y'all are too nice about it. I'm worried at some point people are just going to yank that redemption cord and I'm going to have to sip tea and make a new cup of tea just to have more to keep sipping it. It's going to be a mess. I swear. Okay. Let me also turn on the jams. Turn down the jams a little bit. This is optimal jam volume right here. I try to keep it right here. I think I nail it these days. No one complains about music being too quiet or too loud, so I think we've got it. Yeah. There we go. Okay. He's trying to drown you slowly. Exactly. Okay, I forgot to tweet that we're live. What should we say this time? I'm running out of steam on that. Last time we said we're building a form library and no one cared, which is kind of a problem because, I mean, it's a big deal. I don't know, man. So, I've got 30 sips, but I won't do that to you. See, y'all are too nice. That's the problem. Y'all are too nice. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. What do we tweet? What do we tweet right now? More like Astro 4 point. Slow. I need something here. Something that rhymes with O. I don't know. Maybe this is just a bad format. You want forms, we got forms. I mean, no one seems to be enticed by the forms. When you say form library, what do you mean? Like sort of forms we're talking about. We're talking about web forms, man. We're talking about HTML form tags right now. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're building. That's what we're looking to do. So, I don't know. Also, shout out to Fred for looking through old projects and remembering things. I do not remember this pixelated background. I used Snowpack way back in the day. Like, well, okay, it's way back is like 2 years ago. Web moves fast. This was 2 years ago. But yeah, I wouldn't bash on the pixel art background in Parallax. I mean, that's just cool as heck. I would not clown on that. Just add AI to the name? No, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do it. Yep. Nah, I don't know. I'm overthinking it. Did Astro use Snowpack? They did for like up until 0.21. It was one of the 20s where they switched to Vite. Maybe it was 0.23. And they just did a hard pivot to rewrite the internals to Vite plugins. And it took like a month or two, but it really wasn't terrible. Yeah, SvelteKit was also on the Snowpack train. And then SvelteKit switched over in like March of that year, because I was looking through Discord threads to figure out how to use Snowpack and Vite. Like, there was no prior art at the time. There were no docs. There was no explainers on SSR, really. I had to go through old Discord threads to figure out how the heck do you use this library, actually? And I found this, like, old thread of SvelteKit trying to migrate some, like, really core stuff to Vite. So I know that was around March 2021. And Astro switched to Vite, like, July or August, something like that. And Snowpack is Fred's baby. It's where it started. Vite stocks on SSR is sparse. It still is, because it's meant for framework maintainers, not for the layman. So you still have to feel out a lot of things. And oh my god, style crawling, still really stupidly hard in Vite to actually crawl through a tree and figure out all the styles that components need. I mean, it hasn't gotten better because people built it. Thank you for pronouncing Vite correctly. Do people still mess that up? Like, come on. You only mess that up if you're outside the JavaScript community. You know? I think Primogen just says Vite out of spite. Hey, how about that? The Vitagen, exactly. I think he says Vite out of spite. He even said Vite. I remember him saying Vite at some point in time. Then I saw another video where he was saying Vite. I'm like, why'd he go backwards? He had it. I think he's just doing it to just meme. The same way he says squeal instead of sequel, you know? I mean, I do like squeal. Squeal's a good way to say it, but yeah, I swear he's just doing it to spite people. Oh my god. Actually, that's the tweet. How do you even phrase that? This tweet will not do well. All right. That's the tweet. Sometimes you just have to tweet the last thing that you thought of. Go promote it on the Twitters and such. Get people in here because we're actually building something useful. I swear. We're going to do something kind of useful. This music got a little louder than it used to be. So 1 second. Let me lower this club mix here. Oh, that got way quieter. Hang on. That'll do. That will do. Okay, and let me go back to my main cam because I got to make sure my Discords and my emails and my text messages ain't open. And then I'm going to show you what I was hacking on last night. I had a little hacker moment. Ben had a little idea. And I think it looks pretty good. Oh, I hate talking in the third person. I'm not going to do that again. Yeesh. Oh, I got to save a file. Why do I got to save a file? What did I do to it? I don't think I did anything. Oh, it's the workspace configuration. Yeah, no. I didn't even mean to make a workspace. There we are. Okay. Let me change my screen resolution and we're good to go. We got easy res. Where did it go? I can't spell right now. Oh, I should have added the Primogen with that tweet. I'm a dummy. I should have added Primogen. Well, it's never too late to add someone. I'm going to tweet at the Primogen, is this you? All right, Jess said I dislike you now. I mean, well, if that's all it took, was it really a friendship? I mean, that's all it took. That's loose ice. I can't stand Primogen. He just spouts words and doesn't really say anything other than Vim. Oh my god. I'm screenshotting that. I'll put it straight in the Discord. Oh man, I mean, accurate? I'm sure he would say accurate. I'm sure he would say accurate, honestly. That's, I don't know. Sup, Ben? Sup, Nutlope? How you doing? Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Okay, we got our code. We got our things. We got our stuff. My chat is overlaying in the most ugly way possible. Where do I put my chat now? I don't even know where to put it. You go over there now. This will be a mistake, but we'll put it there. Maybe I don't need a chat on screen. I don't know. I'm like, where do I put my dang chat? I don't know where to put it. It's too tall. That much is for sure. I need like a background or something on our chat window. But I would have to make a web view, and I don't have time to make a web view. Grr. Well, let me open up our app. No, examples form and show you what we're cooking. It's not, you know, don't look with your eyes, look with your brain. All right? It doesn't look good, but it proves a concept. Oh, I'm sorry for the white background. Hang on. Let me just fix that. I should have said flashbang warning. That was a lot. Let me go to my index here. And, well, the easiest way to do this is to drop in open props. So let me do that. Open props. Just install that. Pro tip. If you're just making a scrappy prototype, just do this. I think this is all I need. Oh, that doesn't work. I'm forgetting my imports. This is easy to do. I just can't remember what they are. Dang it. That was going to be so easy. Okay. Getting started, yada yada, CSS, open prop /style, and open prop /normalize. Yeah, I had that. It's just not finding these for some reason. What do you mean you can't find the module? I'm going to restart my dev server because I don't believe you. What? I just installed it. This worked so easily the last time I did a demo. Did I? Oh, I installed it. No, I installed it in the right place. I installed it in the right place. Well, I'll open my package.json to be sure. Yeah, we got open props. Heck. Well, I'll do them as CSS imports, but I didn't think I had to. Hang on. I think that's it. What the frick? What am I messing up? Oh, is it? Did I put styles plural? That's it. All right. There we go. So yeah, open props makes your page look nice without you having to do anything. Yeah, but anyways, you can already see it running there. But I have this set up. I have one input on the form, and all I wanted to do was implement what I think is a nice default. Ooh, we have our dev tools. Look at that. I wanted to implement a nice default based on just user research and articles that I've read when we're dealing with inputs. So when you have an input on the page, you want to be very smart about how you validate that input and when you validate that input. The absolute latest that you can validate an input is server side, right? You could have people fill out the whole form, submit it, the server validates that everything looks right, and if it doesn't, it spits back some HTML in your browser and it renders some error messages. That's the latest that you could do it. It's fine, but it doesn't give you instant feedback, really. It's not taking advantage of having JavaScript, which we have now. So the next step would be to validate it on the client. Instead of pinging the server in order to figure things out, we could ship our validation code to each form or each input to say, all right, when you hit submit, now we're going to validate it client side, and we're not going to ping the server until the client validation passes. Ideally, you have the same validation server and client, so they all match up, and that way you don't have to send network requests. That is better, but we can do better still. If you are filling out, a very long form, for example, you got 20 inputs, it's kind of annoying to hit submit and then see all of the red stuff appear. It's better if you can give feedback that's kind of instant, but not distracting. Too instant, moving it too far forward, would be like, as you're typing, validate the input. Sometimes you need that, but a lot of the time you don't, and it just distracts the user, and they have to pay attention to all these error messages popping up and disappearing. Not great. You can move it back by just doing it on blur, so that's what I implemented here. If I, I submitted the form there, but if I tab away, and I think I have a minimum length of 10, yeah, it'll pop up the error message. So that way, it's not distracting you while you type, but you don't submit the form until everything looks right. So that's a little bit better. But also, you don't want to unvalidate it on blur, or you don't want to hide the error message on blur. Ideally, once it errored, you can instantly show them that you corrected it. And I heard this called, well, dang it, I have a blog post that I read about it. Smashing mag, yeah, live validation UX. This was the one that I read. Let me see this. Reward early, punish late. This is a really nice pattern that says if you corrected something, tell them immediately. Reward them early. But if they broke something while they're filling it out, don't tell them that until they go away, move to the next input field, and flag the errors then. Punish late. So you don't show error messages until they walk away from the field, but you hide the error message the instant that they fix it. Because in this state, I'm just trying to fill out a dang form. But in the next state, I'm trying to correct the form, so I want to see that error message disappear. So that's the default in this thing that I set up. It shows error messages on blur. It hides them as soon as you correct the error. And it will also validate all of the fields when you submit in case you don't blur, like, you're able to hit the submit button straight away or something like that, which I'll demo here, right? That will also just validate every input and do it the normal way. So that's what I set up. Blur input only when, there was an error message before and a submit handler. The last little thing that they explained, well, they explained a lot in this article. It's a great freaking article. But there was one about required fields that reminded me, oh yeah, there is some more nuance that I got to think about here. So let me see here. I don't think they actually called it required. Where did they actually say it? Oh yeah. While you're working, You should validate on blur except for required fields, because people walk through forms in random orders. They might decide, I'm typing in my name and, ooh, I actually want to jump down to the address. I shouldn't leave an error message trail behind them while they're just clicking on inputs saying, that was required. No, they're just filling out the form out of order. That's chill. There's nothing wrong with that. So you should validate your forms when they walk away from the input, unless it's required. Unless it's just like, you didn't fill this out. If it's just they didn't fill it out, wait until they submit to tell them that. You don't have to do it when they're walking around the form. So that's a little nuance. You got to check if it's a required problem or if it's like an actual validation thing that they could go correct. So that's what's up. It's a lot of little things. And I would like a library that is agnostic in some way, that can handle it, give you a validator that works on the server and on the client, because we got JavaScript everywhere, and ideally lets you make more decisions yourself. So here's where I'm at, and I mean, we're not even close to having this thing packaged up yet, but I wrote out in React an input component and a form component. And both of these rely on a form store, which I implemented as like this agnostic store of things, which is every input, whether it's errored before, any errors that popped up, and the validator itself in order to run it client-side per input. So that's the storage mechanism, and the form provides storage for all of the inputs that are within it. So we're using React context for that. We provide a store, and then on submit, we're going to validate that form, and we'll show error messages if we have to. Stop propagation says don't jump up to Astro to submit the form. Stop propagation says don't let Astro submit this form because it's going to try to. Instead, show some error messages. But if it's successful, let Astro submit the form because we're good to go. So stop propagation is a way to prevent Astro from submitting your form because that's our handler. And then in the input, we also have some set validation stuff. You can see here on blur, we always try to validate it. And on change, we'll only do it if it errored at some point. So we give you that instant feedback, that reward early. And then our error messages are here. I want to refine this a bit, but we're just mapping them out and displaying the errors and just dealing with Zod in the raw to get that working. And then as a user, this is all you do. You use the form component, you pass in your validator, which is right up here. And your inputs, I also generate input props now. So this would generate, say, the type of the input based on this. So you can see this is a string, and in order to make sure that matches up, you would probably say type equals text on the input, or something like that. But instead, I just used this to make sure they're always aligned. So this will generate type text and the name of the form just based on the validator you wrote. You can ignore that, you can use it, you can do whatever you want. But this is a nice shorthand to make sure, oh, if I change this from required to optional, I don't also have to update my HTML, which would be a little bit annoying. But yeah, this is all you would look at as a user in order to get the thing working. And then create form is where you actually create like the validator that you can use to validate the stuff client side and also validate a server side. So you can see here on the server, I can say parse request, and I can pass in that same validator. So this guy is going to run on the client, and then it's going to run again on the server just to make sure there aren't bad requests or clients we don't trust. So you can share it end to end. You know, it's very transportable. That's the gist of everything that I set up. But one thing about this code that you're looking at here, I don't want to package this up. I don't want to expose this as a component library. I want to pull a shadcn on this one. So a little backstory on shadcn. It's a code generation tool that lets you ask for an input that you want to add to your application, and you can ask for any of these components here. And instead of giving you a component that you import into your app, it will code gen this input, and it will actually plop it into your app. So this usage right here, I mean, it's telling you how to use the component, but if I were to add this dropdown, let me see here, command, or no. Where does it actually tell you to do the thing? See installation, okay, yeah. I actually chose a wrong one. But yeah, you would do something like this, where you say add popover, and that would create a file in your project that has all of the styles and all of the stuff here. So instead of installing this guy from npm, I'm going to literally paste code into your code base that looks like this. And it composes stuff for you. It does rely on other libraries, but you control the styles. You control the tailwind. So you don't have to ask, oh, how do I prop drill some new styles onto this guy? It's yours. We pasted it into your code base. So you own this now. We gave you a nice springboard to jump off of. And now you can tweak the styles for that component across your project. Yeah, for Lucia too, exactly. And I'm thinking about that for forms, because the reason that I think a lot of form libraries fail is they try to address even the most complex form use cases. I know that I'm naive here. I know that there are people who are way deeper in the form sauce. They have seen some shit. I'm looking at you, Tanner Lindsley. I'm looking at you, Crutchcorn. Y'all know you have seen some stuff. I have not seen as much stuff. So I'm just going to admit that we probably can't address every use case, and it would be a fool's errand to try to do that while also keeping the simple stuff simple. You just can't. You can't cater to everyone. So I'm like, you know what? Let's give you a simple implementation that just has good best practices. The best practice of validate it on blur, fix validation errors while you're typing, and hoisting it to a store that you can go look at. From here, we're just going to code gen this. This file you're looking at, we're going to plop this in your code base. You can use it, import it everywhere, and change nothing about it. That's cool. Or you could say, you know what? I want all of my inputs to validate on input every time. Like, I don't want to do this. I actually want it to work like this. Just validate it on change every time. And I can go ahead and like demo what that would do. You know, I head back over here. It's validating instantly and it disappears. Like, maybe you need that for an input. Cool. Don't ask me to expose props and make the library cater to your use case. Just delete some code and make it work how you want it to work. I think we've realized over time that we can't build the perfect abstraction. So let's just plop a starting point in your project. So that's what I'm going to do. I think the form store can be something that comes from internals that has some sensible defaults that kind of work in any framework. But taking that store and rendering UI and doing stuff with it, that's where we get into, you know what, we're just going to generate some code and put it in your code base, and you do stuff. No one's done that, I don't think, with a form library specifically. So could be a fun experiment. I think that is the simplest way forward. So that's what I'm feeling. Code gen tool for this part here. Opinions about validation. So this is also like a simple form opinion, letting you create a form and have validators and stuff. And also a super nice form handler on the server that's able to take a validator and parse form requests that ever come to the server. So it's got a full stack set of tools. Yeah, that's where we're at. Simple form. This library is called Simple Form. I didn't even start with that, but that's where we're walking towards. And I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm feeling pretty good. Because if it's code gen, that just offloads a whole suite of problems, a whole suite of issues that we might run into. As long as we have good defaults, then people can build very complex things. They could hook into React Hook Form. They could hook into TanStack and what they're building with their form library. They could do that. They can modify the form to their heart's content. All we do is help you make a validator, help you parse it on the server, and give you a starting point for the client that hopefully adapts to Vue and Svelte and Solid as well. I think if we make this modular, we could have a code gen tool for any major framework, so it's not tied down. But yeah, I like the idea. Thank you. You can even generate templates from the CLI like npx simple form latest. Yeah, we could go really deep and think, you know what? Forms work this way in this context and this way in this context. So let's give you a sign-up form that maybe even has inputs ready to go that we expect you to use or something like that. That's a good idea. I totally agree with you on that. We could expand it in that way. Yeah. And yeah, I am curious what you're doing with this right here, Pilcrow. Sometimes I really wonder if some things should be part of the library or just add a code snippet. Yep, I'm having this exact issue. It's a real question, and I think Shad CN proved people like copy-paste snippets as long as you drop it in the code base for them. You don't have to tell them, put the file here. And then, if you tell them where to put the file, I run into this with docs where it's like, okay, we told them where to put the file. Now we have to make sure all the instructions reference that file where it might be in your code base, but we don't know where you might have put it. So you might copy these like later instructions in the docs, and you're like, oh, I have to correct those import paths because I copy pasted this code somewhere else. Like it gets a little funny. It's a little funny, and you have to remember to go to the docs to find those copy paste snippets at some point. It would be better if the CLI just put the code in. And when you bump major versions, it puts different code in. That is an issue with versioning. That's the one advantage of having NPM backed libraries is you can bump versions and you can break stuff. But the path of like correcting code gen is much harder. So that is a con. I think we need to keep it very lean, whatever code is generated. I can actually show an example from shadcn and where you run into that. Because I saw this in a shadcn output. I was like, that's the double-edged sword right there. That's the problem you run into sometimes. So let me go find a project where I have... Actually, can I just add shadcn or something? I don't know. Shadcn is a big beast to add to a project, so I wanted to find one that already has it. Okay, let me commit my code. Then I'm going to add shadcn and show this. So how do you do updates? We have to be smart. We got to be smart because you can't. Unless we have very strict upgrade tools that are able to see, okay, did you leave that file in your code base? Cool. Is it where we expected it to be? Awesome. Did you change anything about it? No? All right. We can now take this file and upgrade it to simple form version 2. But if any of those things aren't true, you took this form and you moved it around. You took this form and you modified just a couple things about it. We can't update the major version anymore. You have to go update your code yourself, and we have to explain the things that changed. I'm hoping that splitting out core pieces like the store and the mapper for the store, I'm hoping that makes upgrading just a little bit cleaner. But that is, again, double-edged sword. You gotta code gen very small bits. You can't code gen the entire library, because then you can't upgrade the library easily at all. But the same goes for documentation that tells you what to copy-paste. You'll run into the same issue. Like, you went there to find an example, and now you have to upgrade that example. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. There's no perfect solution. Wasn't there an un.js library for CodeGen? Yeah, probably. And I looked to something like astrojs/upgrade, which will run through your code base and upgrade everything it needs to 4.0. I think it just upgrades packages right now, but I'm sure it could upgrade Astro configs as well. So we would also have some sort of like simple form/upgrade command that would do a similar thing. But, cross that bridge when you get to it. shadcn has a config file that could take a hit. Yeah, it's a lot of... I don't want to have a simple form config file because I don't think we need it. I'm only suggesting that we code gen a client form that implements some best practices and relies on our version of validation and all of that stuff. I don't want to go too much further than this for a V1. I want it to give you an input and a form and some best practices on when to validate stuff. I don't want to ship, UI opinions. Like, if you're using shadcn, you should be able to upgrade this input to a shadcn input, and everything else works the same. It shouldn't be some proprietary wrapper around everything. So I want to be very, very careful about what is CodeGen, but I think I found one corner that is better served as CodeGen than as an NPM package. I think I found it. Automod stopped the link. Oh, sorry, man. Let me allow that link. Yeah, there you go. No problem. Utilities to generate JavaScript code. Utilities to generate JavaScript code. Okay, so you install Knitwork. What does that do? Ooh, okay. This is actually... I could have used this for something I built at Astro. I could have used this. Dang it, I should use this. I should use this for something. What does it actually do? Generating TS? Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I should have used this for some libraries I built at Astro. I just assume I have to build everything myself. The curse. It was built in-house. What's that meme? only built here, only innovated here, something like that. It's just a new way for libraries. We were just sharing snippets. Honestly, that's a vibe. That is such a vibe. They only have a package for changing config files. Yeah, I know. Here it is. Putting everything from scratch is fun. It is, and that's a problem for me. I'm sometimes afraid to go Google for solutions because I'm worried it'll rain on my parade. It's so stupid. I've caught myself doing it. Where it's like, I'm so excited to build this thing. I want to be in denial and think, I will be the first to build this library, and it will be the best one ever. Like, take some of the ego out of it. Go look around for existing solutions, because they probably exist, and they're probably better than what you're doing. They probably are. You got to swallow it. You got to be smart. If you're working at a company, you're trying to get something done, just don't innovate in-house. Don't do it. But hey, this is a side project. We're allowed to, have a little fun, build something of our own, so it's all right. I built my own change set. Dude, come on. There's change sets. It's right there. I don't even have, the energy to go build a change set library. That just doesn't excite me. But that's cool. Open source it, man. Open source it. On a side note, Ben, have you considered to light edit your VODs to make a fun video about the way you made simple form? Yes, I have. And the thing that I just explained, I'm probably going to toss that in a Twitter video. These are slightly lower effort than my YouTube content, so I feel like that would be better served as a tweet in a tweet video, but I'm definitely going to edit that simple form ramble from 5 minutes ago into a video. So I'll put that on Twitter for sure. But yeah. And we could make a supercut that kind of walks through building simple form. We could totally do that. Oh, here's your change set library. Ari, you're good at names, man. These are good names. But yeah, check that out. Repository, create an Ari directory. Oh boy, I love config directories. All right. Okay, connected to your GitHub. Nice. So I'm going to ask this. I'm a change sets user. It's not perfect, but it works for my purposes. Is there a reason I would use this over change sets? Or does this just exist? Okay, you use it for Lucia. Have you used change sets? I should start there. Because it's something AstroCore leans on, and I've learned enough through osmosis to set it up on my own projects if I need to. But yeah, you can, okay, cool. And does it create a changelog file in the packages that changed? Because that's the beauty of change sets. It creates changelog files and lets you incrementally add them as you do releases. It's pretty nice. I was too lazy to read their docs, so you built a library. Classic energy. I love that. Is that a good idea? Nah, probably not, but I love the energy. That's great. Okay, I'll chill out with the Astro Workspace thing. It works, trust me. All right, so here's a commit. I found a commit right here. All right, feat package add parse request. All right, then feat example. This is how I like to scope things now, because the streamer told me that you can scope things with your commit names, and I like the pattern. So here we are. Simple form client first pass. What do I need to save? I don't trust that. Okay, what did we change in the form? I don't think we changed anything. I'm afraid to, though. Let me see here. Yeah, that looks right, so. Worst case, it broke a little bit. I mean, this is janky code I wrote at night, so it's already broken. It creates a changelog? All right, chill. So what I'm hearing is, I mean, maybe it's better than change sets, maybe it isn't, who knows? I just know that it also works and also exists. We like that. We do like that. Okay, and yeah, you can see here what this kind of does. If you click on a form input and click away from it, it will do that, which isn't bad. I think that's a good default. But there's one last thing I need to add, which is the required checker. So we should show invalid inputs unless it's required, because then that gets really annoying to work with. Or maybe it's different. Maybe we only show the validation on blur if the input is non-empty. Because if it's an empty input, like this one, it's really annoying to click on it, click away, and you immediately see an error. It's not just a required error, it's just generally, I clicked on something and clicked away. Why are you screaming at me? So yeah, I think that's the better principle. I was about to add a bunch of checks for was it a required issue, but nah, I think it's actually just if it's empty, don't run the validator until submit. Love this arc. It's a good arc. Tier 1, man. 5 months. Love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so what we can do here, we can set validation. On-chain should work exactly how it is there. If e.target.value, yeah, exactly, Copilot, exactly. So now if we click on that and click away, it doesn't do anything. But if it has a value and we clicked away, now it's a problem. Oh, I love that. And you'll notice that it does show and hide the error. We basically entered live validation mode. So if we delete that, it's live validation now because you clicked on something intentionally, you corrected the error, or you showed an error to begin with. So now we're going to be very loud about errors, which I think is okay. You want to be progressively louder the more that they've filled out. If they're just clicking around the form deciding what to fill out, don't yell at them yet. Wait until submit. Yeah. So I think that's pretty good. Wait, why is the input getting cleared? That looks weird. It's not getting cleared. I'm just hitting Command Delete on my keyboard. Yeah, I'm not clearing the input or anything. We're good. I'm just typing stuff. I'm just typing. Yeah, no worries. I would agree. That would be really weird if the form messed up. But yeah, it's really snappy, by the way. Like if I hit enter, it's just going to immediately stop propagation. And then the second it works, it submits to the server and it doesn't do anything. It just politely refreshes the page with the new content. And also you can be a little bit smarter. This is a pattern that I really want to lean into. Using transition persist to keep inputs on the page while things are going on. So you can see here I resubmitted, but my focus stayed on the form. Everything stayed on the form, actually. Invalid input, try again, clears what you wrote. Yeah, that would be funny. No, please. That'd be so evil, exactly. So there is one little annoying thing. If there are server errors that don't agree with the client-side errors, they're not going to be passed through. So if there's a server-only issue, you might show a banner of like unexpected problem, or you might prop drill. You know, you might pass down the server errors and then spread those into the state. And that's something we should probably handle as well. But it's not required, I don't think. It's not required. Yeah. Yeah. Feat, handle, void, validating, empty, input, on blur. Okay. Yeah. Feat and transition, persist. We really need Astro context. Yeah, I don't know how that would work for passing down client context, but for like server to server to server, I agree. The best pipe that we have right now is Astro.locals, but types don't work really. So you could do this, and it preserves, it'll pass it down to all the components. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not great. And yeah, server to client, I agree. You're gonna run into a serialization problem with that. Yeah, I don't like, yeah, define is a mess. I wouldn't use it. It breaks bundling, it breaks modules. It's not where we want it to be. It's kind of a half measure that doesn't really solve the problem. And we know that. We just haven't come up with a solution where we're like, yes, that's it. We haven't found it yet. Something like Astro context, yeah. I don't think it would look like that. I think it would be specifically client context. And you would pass it down with like a provider component. It would be pretty strict, I think. But I don't know what it would look like. James Quick just said, Astro 4.0, they did it again. What are the high notes? So I guess the highest note is the new dev tools, which you can see right here. And you can use that to inspect things. For example, you can inspect client components. So you can see right here, here's the client component and all the props that are being passed to that client component. You can also click here to go straight to the file in your editor. Pretty cool. So if you need to inspect JavaScript that's running on the page with client stuff, you can jump straight in. It's not bad. You can also run audit, and that will tell you accessibility issues. I don't know which ones we detect right now, but say I put in an image, you know. The image has got a source. Source is equal to pixum.photos. I don't know. I'm going to do something like that. And look at that. Now there's a little, see that? There's a little dot telling me, ooh, you should click on that. You can see right here, required attributes missing. Accessibility, alt. Look at that. It would be cool if it jumped you to your file as well, because we do have the information to jump you to your Astro file. We're not quite there yet. But look at that. That's really cool. Accessibility audit. And it's also pluggable. So we've got people building some cool plugins. I got cool ideas for what we could do here. Sentry is our partner. So if you use Sentry for error monitoring, they have a plugin that you can use to like track down what triggered an error. It will actually jump you into your Astro source code to tell you exactly what went wrong and where. So that's freaking cool. And you should go check out the docs on it because we have a full... Oh yeah, the docs were rewritten with Starlight. So whole new branding. Look at this baby. And look at that guy. It's me and Tony and Rick. That's actually Emma. Don't worry about that. And Chris, the creator of Starlight. A bunch of cool people on that list. And Matthew got a shadow over him. Sorry about that, man. But yeah, if I go to like Dev Tools, add Dev Toolbar app, maybe? Oh yeah, Dev Toolbar integration. Look at that. So you can add an integration, you can add an app that has a plugin set up, and you can do a lot of crazy things. Yeah, custom, there we go. So this is the full API. I haven't dug into this at all, but you can do so many things with this. So many things. Look at how many docs. Look at all these docs. This baby can fit so many docs. So yeah, if you're looking to build a dev tool, we're already really covering you. Compared to when we launched integrations, this is a way better documentation experience. Way better. So if you're an open source person, you'll probably have a good time just with how thorough this is. Check it out. So if you want to know a certain thing Astro cares about, can we turn off that warning? I don't know specifically what you're asking there. It looks like you can disable notifications. So if you want to disable badges, you can do that. There we go. You can hide the toolbar as well if you just want to remove it while you're running your dev server. But that's the extent of it. And oh, I didn't know this. You can log dev overlay events in your browser console. That's probably really useful if you're trying to debug like a client failure or something. Nice. And you can hide all of it. You can also do this to, oh yeah, this is kind of where we want to sort of pull a Nuxt dev tools. So Nuxt is still ahead of us. Like they do a stupid amount in their dev tools. And one thing they have is kind of a marketplace to go look at integrations and add them to your project from the dev server. We're not that cool. We link you to the docs and tell you how to install it. We don't actually like, you know, hit this button and now it's installing the progress indicator and then it's there. We don't do that, but we at least show you the integrations that you could use right there. So yeah. Oh, and you can copy debug info. That is really smart. That is really smart. But yeah, early days. We kept it lean. We built this on a 2-month timeline. Erica, again, I feel like every feature that is a headliner that is good was built by Erica every single time. Absolute goddess that built our language tools, also built Astro assets. So if you've used optimized images in Astro, she's the one who made it look good. And now she built this. Oh, and the error overlays. Whenever you get an error and you see that little Houston on the side, she built that too. She is on a tear. Probably, I don't want to choose favorites. But if we're talking, you know, just batter average, Erica's hitting home runs. Like, dang, dude. And this is so cool. So, shout out to Erica. Yeah, give her some love. Give her some flowers on the Astro Discords and other places. Lean, mean, coding machine. Exactly. Never really understood what Nuxt DevTools actually do. Fair enough. I think they do so much that it's hard to pare it down. I know that you can get a menu of all the plugins you have in your project, integrations in Astro, and you can like open full menus. Like for Tailwind, you can open a viewer for all the Tailwind classes that are enabled based on your Tailwind config. Like it goes deep. I do think that this is more approachable. It's very obvious, like, okay, you can inspect stuff, you can audit stuff, and you can add more plugins. That's a cool story. I can understand that. I can wrap my head around that. It's not like, oh, we have DevTools and they do everything. Like, okay, chill out. Show me 2 use cases and make them easy to find. Then we can talk about going crazy. Okay. So we got excited. We talked about our vision. I like our vision. I now want to play with making this validator work better. So right now, we don't handle numbers and checkboxes and everything totally correct. So strings are the only thing that handles correctly client side. We need to modify it a little bit to handle numbers and handle checkboxes with a little pre-processing of the value of an input. And I'm going to test that just by having like just a regular old input here. And we'll say name equals opt-in. I'm just inventing this. Type checkbox. And we'll take a look at the value. So, I should probably... No, we're in React. We're in React land. So, on change, I'm going to console log... Oh, boy. Target value. Yeah, and I'm going to take a look at what that gives me. So now I'm going to click this on and off, and you can see, oh, wow, it says on every time. That's actually really, really, really weird. What? Why is it, there's value as, I didn't know about these. That's sick. You can do value as number? What? No. Is that just a React thing? Because no way. No way. HTML, you're freaking cool. Hang on. I'm Googling this. Value as number. Can I use? What? No. What? It's got support. Value as date. No way. I didn't know about these. So wait, maybe we don't need a parser. Hold up. That's kind of sick. That's sick. Oh man, I got to rethink some things. That's cool. Now the con is if you just submit a form data object, I don't think you can do these conversions. You can only do these conversions client side. So I don't think we can use these, but I'm glad I know about them now. But yeah, why is this on every time? Shouldn't this say off when it's off? I'm a little weirded out right now. What's going on with that? I don't trust that. Why does it say on every time? That ain't right. Something's going on here. When does Astro take over the world? That's a great question. We've been waiting on that. It's been a slow burn, but it's been a consistent burn. That doesn't sound healthy, but it's gotten a lot of adoption, okay? And I think we're just going to keep going up. Other frameworks have struggled to find that product market fit. Server components are making life harder. Astro is still just doing its thing. We're just doing our thing. We're expanding to more use cases, and people still love it. So that's why I like Astro. I don't feel like we're going to get hit by, these new trends that are breaking React or changing Svelte to use different state libraries. We don't have to care about any of that because we just support all of them. So I like that. There's some security there. But yeah, we're going to have to see, man. Maybe more marketing, more whiteboards. Need to hire an editor. We could bootstrap this thing. Why does it say on the whole time? React checkbox value. I just want to see here. Do you use checked? Is that what you're supposed to use? I don't think that's actually a thing. Set checkbox value in React. I don't want to set it. I want to get it. Yeah, this handle change check, what does that do? Is checked, nah. This is really old React, obviously, but I've seen it before. Toggle change, okay, this is just not even respecting whatever it is, and we're using a controlled input. I mean, you can. React, isn't that on change? You always want to use on change. I changed to on input just because I was like, well, I don't know what else to try. Oh, hang on, maybe that's what I needed. Maybe that's all I needed. Okay, so we can do that. That's not bad. The problem is when you submit to form data, it becomes on and off. So you need to be smart about how the thing is being used. You got to be smart about it. But yeah, why is the value on? All the time. Because that is properly setting it to true and false, but value is stuck. What's up with that? I don't even know what to ask. I don't even know what to debug here because that should just work and it doesn't. And I'm weirded out. Oh, that's actually been searched. Two-way binding checkbox always returns on. Yeah, there we go. The value property on checkbox is fixed. What? In the old days, it was the value that was submitted along with the form only if the checkbox was checked. Oh, wow. I'm learning the platform right now. On-off is one of those cases where you want to use the platform, but the platform is just awful. I know. What was the platform thinking? So here's like the legacy reason, right? Forms by default are GET requests, which is already so annoying. And a GET request adds query params. So when I submit this form in default web, it would say name equals gibberish and check or opt-in equals, and it needs to be a string because query parameters are strings only. They could have had the string true and the string false. That would have been the normal thing to do. But instead, they chose a string value of on and off, and you have to check it. It's very silly. And I just learned that the platform, I guess, wouldn't pass the query param or would pass an empty value instead of the word off. Weird decision. Did not know that. But that's basically it. And they assume you're just checking for the presence of the thing. So, web weird. TLDR. And now we gotta deal with the web being weird. You hate to see it. So yeah, you don't want to use target value. You want to use checked whenever you're doing client-side stuff. Got it. But I think that means the client and server behavior or the validator is going to work a little differently. It needs to handle both. So let's say our thing here, that's a vibe. Yeah, it would be something like that. And look at Copilot figuring that out. That was slick. That was slick as heck. But yeah, it's not going to be a Boolean, I don't think. Well, it will be a Boolean, but it could also be something else. So we would actually do, what I want to do is add a pre-process under the hood. So you just say Boolean, and you don't have to think about it. But we're smart, and we say, oh, it's a string. We're actually going to pre-process that and then pass it to your validator. Because we saw you want a Boolean, we'll go ahead and coerce it to a Boolean without you having to coerce it yourself or write pre-processing logic. It's a look ahead to see what kind of validator you want, and then we pre-process it to roughly fit into that validator. That's what we're doing. So how do I do that? I know that we should probably check the form data on the server just to see what the heck we get. So if I head over here, or actually I can check it on the client. I'll head to my form where we're about to do a submit right here. We set the form data, we parse it out. We can just console log the form data to see what we're working with. Okay? And I think you can do I'll even do .get opt-in because we know that's the field that we want to look at. So go ahead and do that. Oh my God. Layout shift. Oh, okay. So yeah, we saw it gives you the word on. And I'm going to remove the other console log because that's just noise right now. So remove that. No longer having that. Okay. Yeah, that is annoying that we got layout shift, but I mean, that's on me as the developer to have no layout shift. That's just, the nature of the beast. But yeah, if we submit, we see on. Oh God, I didn't mean to click. It jump scared me there. Dang it. Now we'll turn it off and we get null. Oh, dang it. Oh. This is reading that I bookmarked like months ago. I want to build something with Elixir live view just to really understand how they do it. Yeah, opt-in or opt-in, exactly. I would recommend camel case in all cases. And here, instead of having to do name and type, I would actually do sign up input props dot opt-in. That's what I would do. And that would give you type checkbox and name of whatever. So you don't have to think about keeping those in sync. This would be the ideal path. I was just typing it out manually. But yeah. So it could either be on or null. That's what I expected. And that's good to know. So all we have to do is check for the presence of it. We don't actually have to check the value. That makes our life a little bit easier, believe it or not. So I'm going to go to create form. Take a look at these validators here. And it looks like we passed down the validator. We don't really do anything to it, but we're going to need to transform it just a little bit. So, for example, number inputs. We need to parse it to a number ahead of time and then pass it down. And Pilcrow and I, we were actually building something with that, or Pilcrow built it, and it was awesome, to have a number parser whenever you're trying to get a number value. I now know that there's value as number and value as date in the browser, which is like awesome. But if we're just submitting form data as is, we can't rely on that. So massaging is necessary. So we're going to need, let me think here. If we look at the, first I'm going to update the prop generation. So you can see here we have checkbox and number and text. I think that's all working actually. So let me go to my browser and see what that rendered. Actually, I'll go to form, and we'll just make sure that that's coming down the pipe as we expect it to. Oh no. Yeah, it did not work. Okay, interesting. So if we go back to, I keep forgetting what tab I'm on. I think it was create form. My files aren't really named correctly yet. Okay, but yeah, this is incorrect. I have bad logic in here. But yeah, if we go up to the browser side, yep, we have input prop, get input prop. Based on the name and the field validator. We jump down here. Required is equal to that. This is get input type. Not bad. We have generics all the way down. And we can console log field validator just to see what we're working with here. So we should have two things. We should have two fields, actually. We have a Zod optional, which is probably what we're working with. Oh, it's an instance of optional. So this is a tough one. The way Zod wraps classes, it's actually not going to be an instance of any of these. It's an instance of optional that wraps a Boolean. So in order to figure out that it's a Boolean, you have to go to inner type, which is really weird. But I think there's a way to kind of unwrap it or get the value. So how are we going to do that? Let's think here. Yeah. Inner type is equal to, yeah, field validator dot. Can I just rely on this? You cannot rely on this. Got it. Yep. Field validator instance of Zod optional. Or does it type narrow if I just say is optional? I don't know. Yeah, if I say .def, no, you still don't get the properties. So now we'll say field validator instance of Zod optional. If it's an instance of that, we get field validator def. Okay, nice. Inner type. And that would give you anything, really. Yep. Not bad. I think that'll work. Resolved type. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so we'll do something like that, and I think that'll give us everything we need. This is definitely tied to major versions of Zod now, but it always was. Always has been. So now, oh yeah, it worked, because now it's a checkbox. Sick. Okay, so this is basically a way to unwrap it and get the inner value. I think there's other ways to do it, but this is definitely the easiest way. Yeah, is there a function in order to get that? Refine, refinement, super refine, describe, default. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any other way to do it, really. Yeah, this will do. It's pretty easy to understand, so I'm just going to leave it. That should unwrap optional values and give you the appropriate stuff. Okay, so now we know it's a checkbox. Sick. We're going to need to transform values before we pass it through your guy. So these are correct. Input types are correct. The validator is correct. It will work client side, but server side, it needs to check. It needs to coerce the value in order to run it properly. And I don't know what zboolean is going to do. Let me try let me just write some scrappy code and see what the heck it does. So if I say z.boolean, yeah, dot parse null, what does that do? Does that throw? Does that explode? I don't know. It does. Yeah, receive null. Huh. Okay. Nice. Dot coerce. There is no coerce. Coerce. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you could do that. And if we do that, then we get false. Okay. And if we say on there, that is coerce to true. Okay, so coerce is probably the simplest way out. So we need to modify your code because I don't want to say coerce true as a user. But this is getting a little funny. We're pretending it's just Zod, but it's actually not if we do this route. So I think the cleanest way is to pre-process inputs before we pass it to your validator. So that way we aren't like digging into the inner workings and modifying the way your stuff works. So let's change this to a pre-process instead, actually. Here's what the validator is going to be now. I'll probably have a get pre-process step, or actually let me just do it the way I'd prefer to do it. A validator is a Zod raw shape. Pretty cool. Yep. Function pre-process validators. T extends. I don't even know why I have generics anymore. They don't really do anything. Actually, they do have some effect on user code. Extends Zod raw shape. Yep. And just for my own sanity, this is a form validator now. And we'll go through this guy. Right here. And we'll say we are looking for, yeah, it's kind of doing that. Okay, we don't want to get the inner type, but I like where your head's at. Yep. So we can do something like this. And, ooh, there was a comment on stream last time about type safe object from entries, which may be very useful here. I don't know. It might be very useful indeed. Yeah, so let me think. I think it's just, oh yeah, you can't do the thing that I was about to do. I wanted to do this just with simple for loops, but to preserve types, it's kind of better to do it this way because it's direct return, it's one-to-one. You don't have to type the aggregator that's going to gobble up all the values. So we're going to do it this way, I guess. We have the key and the validator. Those stick around. And I'm going to add some braces to this so we can do some pre-processing here. Yeah. And we can get the type, I think. We can actually, yeah, we can call this to figure out what it is. Input type, and we'll just call get input type ahead of time. Pass in the validator. That will tell you whether it's a number or a Boolean. And we can say if valid, yeah. If it's a checkbox, then we're going to go ahead and also the base case is this for now. We'll say key and then input, yeah, validator pre-process. Oh, how do you do z dot pre-process? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice. Copilot, you understood me. Okay, that's what I'm looking to do. And that'll pre-process everything that we need to. Okay, this is going to work. Yeah. Okay, I think you know, Copilot. I think you know. Pre-process has number, and I know that this doesn't handle nans and other things, but that's good. We want it to fail the parse, and it's going to fail in the same sort of way you would expect. So nans would pass into the number validator, it would say not a number, and that would get logged to the user. So this is actually good. And then the rest of this is key validator, and you're kind of done. Hey, if I see this right, I'm seeing dynamic form with Zod. Yes, you are seeing this right, sir. You are seeing this right. Absolutely. Okay, so this is going to do it like that. Nice. So now we have a little bit of handling for those funky cases. And we can pass everything as expected. And I think the type should still line up. Let me double check that. I'll go back to sign up and look at the inferred type here. Okay, we lost everything. The validator is now a super generic type because TypeScript was mean to me but I think I'm just forgetting the T. Perhaps I'm forgetting the T. But it's probably because I'm using object from entries. Yes, it is. Okay, been doing this thing for a while, but discarded pretty much all TypeScript. Yeah, dude, Zod with types is brutal. Delag, if you're wondering about the theme, type bang theme in the chat, and it'll give you some info. Okay, so someone shared this the other day, and I'm going to grab this. This is a type-safe object entries. Also, when is Stack Overflow going to get dark mode? Like, heck. What the heck? Okay, it said type bang theme, but it's not responding to you. I have a bot. The bot should be running. Come on, bot. Answer his question. Come on, bot. It'll come in at some point, I think. I'll share it in 1 minute if it doesn't actually come through. But anyways, let me see here. Bot is sleeping. Clearly bot is sleeping on the job. I thought it just always ran whenever I go live. And it started, if I go to the start of the chat room, I think. Or actually, no, the bot never started. Go darker in a VS Code theme with what? No, dude. I love my... So you were just asking for my theme? Oh, no, you didn't ask. But I was about to say, you're just asking for my theme to tell me to use a different theme? Heck no, man. I love my theme. If you're wondering, the theme's called Houston, okay? If you go search Houston on VS Code, this is the Astro theme, and it is absolutely awesome. So go look for Houston. It's a great theme. But yeah, let me go back here. Yes, I was. Get out of here. Get out. Okay, I'm scrolling around aimlessly. Which one did he actually link to? Typefest that can be used for this, object entries as entries, you can. Dun, dun, dun. Let me see here. That represents the return value of this function that keeps the relationship between keys and values. Exactly. I'm looking for that. Tried and failed solution. Vibes. Here's a solution, but beware when using this as return type for object entries. It is not always safe to do that. Yeah, all right. You want to pair each key with something dependent on that key's type. Use a mapped type. So yeah. Yikes. I'll just copy your code, man, because I don't know. An alternative solution is using a distinct conditional type. This requires K to be a naked type parameter. Okay. Interesting. The second version, which has a tuple containing the properties instead of a union, is much harder to construct. Okay. The third version is manageable, but a bit more complicated than the first. You need pick by value. Yeah, I know about that one. That one's rough. I guess I should also explain what TypeScript doesn't. Yeah, I'm curious. When you have a type like that, it's only guaranteed that a value has those properties. It's not guaranteed that the value does not also have other properties. What? Okay, so the value of that is assignable to type object. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. So you could have other properties that are invisible, so object entries could also have invisible types. We'll return an array containing the elements D and false. Yeah, and it can happen. Yeah, I see what you mean. When you yourself know that the values will have no excess properties, TypeScript won't check this for you. Okay, that's helpful. I actually understand that. I think we can guarantee that, but I don't know. I think we can, because we're using a generic type, and it's inferred from the object coming in. So I'm hopeful that there aren't other things on it, but I guess I can't guarantee it. The thing is, we're going from entries and entries, so we're kind of just letting all of those values wash out in the same sort of way. I watch your tweets during the day so they don't burn my eyes. Using a light theme. Yeah, I know. It's rough. Okay, so this is an option here. So we say entries object, okay, and we would do a typecast in order to use this. That's what we would do. So we could do that. This is our utility type right here. And we would say, I mean, we could typecast it directly. We could use satisfies, or we could say as. I always want to use satisfies, but I just can't find a reason for it. Yep, that's good. Yeah, I don't think we need entries, but I'll keep it around. Okay, could not fast refresh. That's weird. But yeah, now I'm casting it to T just to make sure. Yeah, okay, so validator's still going to extend correctly, and I don't think we need this. I think it's inferred from the validator. Yep. And if we remove as T, what do we get? Yeah, we get a type any. Okay, so I think this works. It does. Nice. All right, so we'll just stick with that. But I now understand object entries and why things aren't guaranteed. Okay, so in signup, we have our Boolean. It's going to parse it correctly. And there's really not much to it because at most you just have a true false. All we have to do is check, does it explode when we blur away? I don't think it does. That's good. So I'll head back down here just to see what the heck happens. But if we look at this, if not has error return, and then we do a safe parse right there, so we can just console log the result of parsed. Not hard to do. Okay, it's not parsing, I don't think. Because I don't think blur is actually respected here. Yeah, okay, so that works, but you can't blur a checkbox, question mark? Can you not blur a checkbox? Well, I guess I don't care. I guess I don't care. What if you have custom validation, like it can only be true if something else? Like that would be really weird. But yeah, can you blur a checkbox? I thought you could. Oh, but the value is probably equal to empty string sometimes. Nope, it's actually not logging. So you can't blur a checkbox. It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. I feel like that's a little bit weird. Can you unblur a set of checkboxes? Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. What if you tab over it? Yeah, I did that though, I think. Let me see here. And I should also console log specifically what it is. So input props.name. Yeah, let me log that. Yeah, see that? You can tab through it, but it doesn't actually fire the on blur. Weird, right? I don't know why that would be. Weird, right? The issue is because a blur event will always fire when you click on any other element in the MyList. Okay, this is just a jQuery issue. Huh, right? That's weird. I would not expect that. I would not expect that. But wait, I'm not even oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not even using the input component. There we go. Hey, look at that. Okay, there we go. Whoops. Okay, chill. That makes sense. And it validates, by the way, which is great. Yeah, lol. It's easy to forget you're not using your big boy inputs. You're using little boy. We're men around here. We use big boy component libraries. Okay, so now I'm curious, if I don't add the preprocess, what happens? Like, does this break? Will it say invalid? You know, will it? Yes, it will. Oh, look at that. Expected boolean received string. Nice. So by adding a preprocess, now it works. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. I like that. Okay. And we could, be really smart about it. We can also check if, well, let me make this a commit because I'm proud of that. This is a good bit of code right here that wasn't too hard to write, honestly. So we figured out resolve types. We figured out that this was just a mess. I don't think we need to do this anymore because now we're adding preprocess events per input. We don't need to care about this. Yeah, we don't have to care about multiple form values. We don't have to do anything. Yeah, remove that. We don't need to preprocess anything. So yeah, it's just z object dot parse. There's literally nothing to it. In fact, I'm going to go to wherever validate form is called, which I think is here. Yeah, we don't have to do anything. Z.object. And, oh yeah, I guess you do have to massage form data, so I will at least leave that, I guess. Yeah. Leave that, go back to validated form. And I think we do need a little pre-processing just to turn this into this. And we'll also need to care about nested objects and arrays when, in the future, we care about it. But for now, we don't. But beautifully, we only need to do this now. Yeah, that's all we have to do. There's literally nothing of that. Yeah, nothing from that old code we have to do. That was like my old pre-process setup, and we don't have to do those transformations. Nice. So now it'll just work. No transform. Nice. And then you can click that and hit submit, and success is true, data is true, and because we're just preserving the input, it just kind of works. We don't really have to do anything. Our server logs tell you right there exactly what's coming down the pipe. Sick. This is, am I crazy or is this just nice? Is this a nice library? Because I think this looks pretty nice. You can also say min length. This is another thing that I want to do. If you have a min length, can you put that into your HTML? I know you can do min and max for number inputs, but can you do it for text inputs? I don't think you can, but perhaps you can. Let me try here. If I say min equals 10, what does that do? Because I have no idea. Now, I don't think it does anything. Because I was expecting the HTML error that tells you, okay, well, maybe it'll do it if I submit. No, I don't think it does. I don't think it'll do the thing. Yeah. Input text min length. MDN. The min length attribute defines the minimum string length. Oh, wow. That exists? Okay, well, maybe min length. Maybe that's a good idea. Nice. Invalid DOM property. React, I hate you. There we go. So let's do that. And submit, maybe. Yeah. Look at that. Please lengthen your string. Should we add stuff like that? You know, I've wondered, in general, should we add DOM properties like required and min length based on your schema? I know, TIL. Same here. Sometimes you just got to play with stuff and you find out. But yeah, should we add these properties? Because sometimes people hate that. Sometimes people are like, why are you letting these ugly browser things pop in? My designer is complaining to me that this is ugly and we should show our own validation. And you also have double validation here. You see both your error and the browser error. So I am wondering, like, should we actually help you with that? Should we help you with that? Should we add, I mean, we should add required because that's an accessibility feature. You should mark your HTML with required. But should we do it for other things? I don't know. Is there a way to hide browser errors but have the accessible attributes? Maybe if we did something like, I don't know. If I have an input box, then I say aria min length. Or aria value min, interesting. But yeah, if I did like aria required, is that a way to mark it required without having the ugly browser overlay? I'm pretty sure it is. But I'll double check on that. So this is, well, it's already required. We actually add it to your HTML. So if you submit this, it will say, please fill out this field. Yeah. But if I change it to be aria required, would that be a way to show your validation errors instead? Perhaps. It also doesn't say required here for some reason. I think because it doesn't let you submit the form. That's probably the issue. Yeah, so wherever I'm generating input props, it should probably be in here. Where do I say required? Yeah, we do it here. Yeah. So I'm going to change this to be, mistype, aria required. So if I change it to something like that, I should have fixed that up. Okay. So now we have an aria required attribute instead. Okay, yeah. And it'll show something like that. Or if you don't have any validation at all, going back to sign up, it would just say required or something like that. So you can see it doesn't actually do anything on blur. Oh, it doesn't actually show you the required validator. That's kind of weird. Shouldn't it do that? Maybe because empty string is valid. I think that's the issue. No validate? Oh, interesting. Maybe. Shallow Clone, welcome in. Thanks for raiding, dude. What are y'all up to? But yeah, maybe no validate. I don't know. But I am noticing ARIA required is an idea. ARIA required attribute indicates that the user input is required on the element before a form may be submitted. Yep, it should have the required attribute applied to it. The HTML required attribute, yeah. But I'm handling that myself with my own error messages, so I don't know. When form controls are created using non-semantic elements such as a div with the role of checkbox, the ARIA required attribute should be included. Okay, we're kind of doing the same thing, yeah. The ARIA required attribute can be used with HTML form elements. It's not limited to elements that have an ARIA role assigned. I guess, okay. Similar to HTML required, ARIA required attribute explicitly conveys to assistive technologies the elements required. Nice. Okay. Nice. Yeah. If no value is present, provide native error messaging. In some browsers, if required value is invalid. But yeah, the ARIA required attribute, like, yep, has no impact on element functionality. Right. Functionality behavior must be added with JavaScript, which we've done. Ooh, this is a good point. Okay. Yep. You don't get the CSS pseudo class. Aha. I hadn't thought about that, but you could use this. Form contains both required and optional form elements. The required elements should be indicated visually using a treatment. Yeah. That is something I've wondered. Should we add a little asterisk to required fields to help you out, or is that too opinionated? I don't know, because I always want it. Telling you some advent of code. Nice, dude. Oh, Campbell. Yes, sir. Got a jet to work. Yeah, no problem, dude, but glad you're carrying the O Camel torch. Not the first one to be doing that. That's probably my number one pick if I were doing advent of code, but I'm just doing open source, man. I don't have time for that. Is Vite thing? It should be vite. Exactly. It's actually vit. Yeah, I like that. Oh, camel, my camel. It's poetry. Simple web. ARIA versus ARIA required. Can you give me a TLDR on this, Pilcrow? Oh, it's actually really short. If a specific user input is required for form submission, the element should have a required or ARIA required attribute. Yep. A native element is created using HTML tag. We're not roll a button. You have a first name input that includes codes using input, use required. However, if you're using, yeah, I get it, but I think we're doing something else. I think we're doing something else here, which is having custom error messages. And it feels like ARIA required is the best of both worlds, but maybe required and no validate is like an alternate option. I'm worried assistive technologies would see no validate, or if that's the name of it, I can't remember. I'm worried assistive tech would see no validate and do something. Form no validate. That's the weirdest name ever. Okay. Form no validate. Yeah, just pass that through. You also notice I don't have type completions here. I need to go find the utility type for this. I actually have to go look at an internal tool in order to remember what that is. Okay. So if we do that, okay, we're console logging some weird things, but I think they're just from earlier. Okay. And it does say success true, and it passes through as an empty string, which, okay, all of that makes sense. We should probably handle empty strings as empty or null or undefined. We should probably do that if it's marked as required. Yeah. Because to me, required means it fills out. Yeah. So it looks like form no validate did the trick as well, though. Oh, no. We have ARIA validate right now. So yeah, I'm debating how I want to treat this thing still. If we go back here and we undo our way back to required. And we submit the form. Okay, it still does it. I don't know if no validate is going to actually be a thing that we use, or I'm just holding it wrong. Yeah. HTML required hide error messages. Yeah. Yep. Pop-up and still provide validation. A simple event listener will do the job. Required value. Yep. Interesting. To handle focus. Oh, I don't care about focus. I care about hiding the actual thing. Autocomplete off or nope? Autocomplete still works on an input despite having... Okay, I'm not worried about autocomplete either, actually. Let's go here, then. Oh, boy. Where am I? Okay, this is actually not getting me anywhere. I'm gonna say ARIA required is a good option here. I'm just gonna boldly say ARIA required is what we want to do until someone corrects us on Twitter. How about that? Innocent until proven guilty by Twitter replies. It's a good way to go through life, I think. It's a good way. I like that. So yeah, we'll stick with that. So, okay, we tried opt-in. We figured it out. We don't care about that anymore, or really any of these console logs. So let's get those out of here. And, oh, we never committed any of these, so we should probably do that. I don't think we need the type entries. We're pre-processing our validators. We're now using ARIA required, and we're using resolve type. We did a bunch of unrelated changes, but 'tis the nature of open source. Feat support check boxes. We'll just call it that, even though other things happened. Because we're early enough in our journey that I don't really care. Yeah, don't save changes there. Jesus. Okay. What else we want to do? So now we need to handle empty inputs, right? Let's go back to our pre-process, actually. If it is... input type equals that. Else if... Well, I should probably have a switch case at this point. A switch would feel better. Input type. Yep. Something like that. Kind of. Not really. I don't know why you thought to use that instead of this, but oh well. Yeah. Case text. Return key z pre-process value. Oh yeah, we could trim it, but I don't think so. Value equals empty string. Yeah, we can do a null right there and then pass it to your validator. We could do that. Okay, so now if we submit, expected string received null. Okay, that's probably not what we want to do. If we do undefined, it'll just say required. That's the goal anyways. Nice, okay. So now we have custom required messages, and that's what we're looking for. That feels right to me. Consider empty input as required. Yep, that should do. Cool. And then it instantly corrects your error. I love that. And then this is submitting to the server. There they are. All right. Feat handle required messaging. Looking good. Looking good, y'all. Hi, what's up, Sucherman? Welcome in. How your day going? Sucherman. It's a good name. Okay, so we have on blur right here. If target value is empty, go ahead and return, because value is always a string. Now, checkboxes are a funny one for sure, but I think a checkbox gets around this pretty nicely. Yeah, this was definitely a creative one. I don't know if that's going to hold for every type of input we have in an application. We'll probably need to battle test it with some unit testing, and then we'll get to it. Okay, and yeah, I'm wondering why my TS config in general is just not working. It's really not, because there's all these cases where I had like undefined types and other things, and it didn't catch me. And I was like, why is my TypeScript just not running? Like at all. Not in the way I expected to. I'm using tsconfig's base, which should have a lot of checks in here. I'm going to switch to strict, probably. just to see where we can get. All right, so now we should get a couple rules. That's good. Okay, so we can't do this. Can't be used to index type. All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. So I think for now, we can just do an object from entries. We don't even need a mapped object anymore. So let's go ahead and return object from entries form data and just kind of move on. Just do something like that. And that should work the same way that we already had it. Yep, that is working. That is working nicely. And I still want this to do handle multiple inputs with same key. Yep. And let's double check that everything is now passing our aggressive type checker. So if we go to form, for example, everything is working. We go to sign up. Everything is working, but in a very odd way. Does this still... Oh, I can pass through props that don't exist on the... Yeah, that's weird. Why does it allow me to do that? Normally, it would be a type error saying this prop doesn't exist on this component, but for whatever reason, it's chill with it. I don't like that. Why is it okay with that? I think you can pass garbage and have it throw an error. Okay, that's good. So yeah, you can pass unknown props and it kind of works. Weird. But hang on. React get HTML attribute type. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I'm going to go to my screen. I'm going to look at an internal tool, so I sadly can't show you my screen, but I know that I've solved this problem before. I just want to get HTML input props and allow those as React props. You know what I mean? So if I go to my internal things, I should be able to find this. Oh yeah, you just say component props without ref. Interesting. Component props without ref, TIL. Let's go back here. Your VS Code layout is just like mine. Very nice. You got good taste, sir. You got good taste. Number one thing people need to do, take this charm bar up here and move it either hidden or to the top. I was hitting some bugs with hidden, so I put it on the top. But anyone who has this chunky sidebar, like, dude, this looks like Duplo. It looks like how big do you need your icons to be? We got keyboard shortcuts. So take that position and either hide it or move it to the top, because it is, you get so much more real estate doing that. It matters. So yeah, put it up there, people. And I also love having stacked terminals. I used to use warp terminal, but now I'm just like, nah, stack. Put them over there. And you can show and hide it with Command J, which is really nice. But I need my logs, so I'm putting that back. Okay, so we have everything working there. Gotta jump over to our input. And we'll just say input props. And we'll say component props. And you can say input. Today I learned about this. And now you can't index that type. That makes sense because name might not be there. So we have to say, if there's not an input, then we don't know any of this information here, which is a little bit scary. I think we'll make name required, though. If you do something like that, now all of a sudden name is required, so that's good. But what's scary is it lets me index this type, even though it really shouldn't let me index this type. This could be undefined, and it doesn't care. For whatever reason, it just does not care, which is just hilarious. I don't know how to handle that gracefully, other than just having like a default value. Or raising an error to the user that's very clear. I think doing something like this is okay, though. Form state input props.name, or we'll just default you to garbage, and that should work okay. Although then you're able to set a key on the error state whenever you're validating and other things. So yeah, I should probably go ahead and say something at the top here. Yeah. That's an okay error. I think that actually is an error. If you're trying to use our magic input component and you don't have it. Oh, Maple, welcome in. I used to do icons on the top, but I don't know how it hides the icons sometimes when there's content up there. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I have muscle memory for all the shortcuts, but the error I ran into is if you hide the top bar, the shortcuts don't work. It's this really weird bug that got introduced in some version, and it still happens. So I'm like, okay, I can't hide the top bar anymore because for whatever reason, the keyboard shortcuts only work when you've revealed the bar at least once in a session. It's so dumb. It's like an on mount that they just change somewhere in the code. So I have to have the bar somewhere if I want my shortcuts to work. I know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Who broke that? And how do you even report the bug? I don't care. They have 10,000 issues on VS Code, so I just didn't. And I just admitted, all right, fine, I'll put the top bar, but I never click it because I know my shortcuts to get to find, to get to GitHub, and to get to this, and to get to debug. Those are the only things that matter. And extensions, actually. That does matter, too. But I don't click on all these. I don't care. This is why you don't do global things inside of component effects. That's literally what's going on. That's literally what's going on. Held a message for reasons smart to... Oh, boy. Oh, it's an auto mod. Okay, sorry about that. I'm reading my own auto mod. Okay, Pilker uses stock terminal. You're OG, man. Respect. But yeah, there we go. So I think we can say input state is equal to that. And if there's not input state, then you probably wired up something wrong, dude, because you're relying on our library. It's not here. And we'll say input state, destructure that safely. Now we're good. Safe parse return type can be whatever. It doesn't really matter. I do want validation errors to be nicer though. So I don't know. At some point that'll be useful. But yeah, I'm feeling good about this library, man. This is going to be code gen. That's where we stand on it. I'm using a state library for this, by the way. Create form stores relying on nano stores to give us a generic piece of state that we could use to write a preact integration, a solid integration, whatever. I just want to have the right balance of internals and externals. So I think the next step actually is to package this up into like simple form / client, and we can move it to the package and import it here. But I got to use the bathroom, so I'm going to be back, and we'll see what we can power through in 10 minutes. One moment. All right, we back. You don't have the VS Code bug? Oh, well, maybe they fixed it. I think you have to have it hidden and restart VS Code, though. Because if you revealed the top bar at any point in a session, it will work. If you start VS Code from scratch and it's hidden from the start, try hitting one of the shortcuts like Command-Shift-F to go to the Finder and see if it works. You have it hidden. Did you quit VS Code and reopen it? If you did, then maybe it's fixed, and I can go back to hiding this top bar, because that was nice. That was clean. That was clean when I used to do that. Okay, so let me do this here. Yep, sure. bump tsconfig strictness. Yep. Component props are nice, by the way. When did React add this? Is this like a React 18 feature? Because it's something that I wanted in React forever, and it's just very clean. Component props on input. And ooh, I should probably just say use component props and update the form as well. So the form right now takes children and a validator, but it should also take all the component props for a form. Something like that. And we can say form props. And then this should have the type of like, yeah, all the crazy guys. So we can just say that. Form props, and I guess we can allow you to override other stuff, but not method post. In fact, we should probably exclude it, right? Because get is not supported with this library. Yeah, something like that. So this is form props. And now it's not an issue. So I've set everything up. If you pass in, okay, for whatever reason, if you pass in stuff that's omitted, it doesn't work properly. But if I say like key, okay, nice. Method is not there. Perfect. Okay, cool. And it actually tells you method is not a thing. It wasn't doing that a second ago. Maybe I just had to restart stuff. But yeah, now you can't update the method, but you can update any other property. You can even override the onSubmit if that's what you're into. I don't know if that's cool or not. Maybe it's not. Because we handle onSubmit. We don't want you to access that. Yeah. I'm going to remove onSubmit, actually. I'm going to remove that. You shouldn't be able to update that. OnSubmit capture, maybe that works. I don't even know what that does. But everything else, I'm just going to say, nah. We're not going to allow that. Nah. So now we have everything that we should need. All right, use component props. And what comes next? What comes next? You have it. Okay, you quit it. So maybe they fixed that bug. Nice. But yeah, now this create form file that I've just been working on here, these are actually internals. These are all things that should be moved to the package. So let's head down here. We have source right now. And we're going to have client.ts. And this is going to contain all of our stuff. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so this is more strict type checking than where we were working. That's kind of funny. But ooh, maybe it's just because we need to install something. So we'll install Zod. Or actually, I don't think we should do that. Or we should, but we should do it as a dev dependency. So let's say pure dependency, where's Zod? Yeah. Pure dependencies are Zod, and this is a dev dependency. Oh, sorry. This is the dance you gotta do. That should do. And we'll see if we can update that, at least a little bit. Now client is working as expected. Very cool. And I'm not gonna bundle it. I'm just gonna ship it directly because you're gonna use it in an Astro project, and your Astro project has bundling. So for now, I'm gonna be very scrappy about it. And just say /client.ts, and that's it. Nothing else to it. And if I go back to my create form, or if I go back to sign up, actually, I can delete that, and ideally, it will come from, yes, simple stack form /client. Perfect. Okay, so await is no effect. That makes sense. That shouldn't even be there. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can't just expose a TypeScript file and expect that to work. Maybe not. But it could just be a dev server error. Oh no. No. No, really? You can't just expose a TypeScript file and have Vite do its thing? Dang it. I have to build it. Ew. I have to build it now. Do I have to build it? I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that I have to build it now. I thought this would just work. I really did. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Huh. We're also running into some pure dep issues, but I'm guessing that's because if I go back to client, it's using map, but for whatever reason, the type checker's like, oh yeah, map, I've heard of that. NanoStores, sure. It's literally not a library that this uses right now. Let's go ahead and install NanoStores into our core as well. That's another peer dependency. This is a questionable peer dependency. Zod and Astro, those are obvious peer dependencies. This is a questionable peer dependency. It's not even 1.0. I didn't realize NanoStores was pre 1.0. Really? I mean, we recommended it at Astro for like 2 years now. So I don't know if that's a good idea. Okay. Ooh, it was probably just that. Okay, so we can just use TypeScript. Sick. All right. That made my life easier. And now everything is just coming from there, and I can safely delete create form. And now let's just refresh to be sure. Hit something like that, and now we get required. We can head back, instantly resolve it. It submits the form, and we see it on our backend. There we go. So as a user, this is the only code that you'll have code genned into your code base. And then sign up is actual user code that you write day to day. So you can spread the input props if you want to keep them aligned, or don't. It's up to you. You don't need Nano ID. I don't think I'm using Nano ID right now. Yeah, you have to build it since there's no... well, no. Maple Leaf actually showed me this a while back. Working on internal tools, you can just have a TypeScript file, and your language tools, if you're using VS Code at least, will pick up on TypeScript fine, and it'll be okay. But it kind of works. Also, whereas you don't... Dude, I don't think I need... Okay, you wrote a pocket Nano ID. Well, that's nice. That's pretty cool. I like pulling in a dependency, though. I don't feel like copying implementations into my project, because Nano ID is fine. And yeah, I don't even use Nano ID myself. It's just kind of a third-party thing. I don't know. I'm fine using Nano ID as small as it is, because it's just used by so many people. But that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. What's the danger of not having the DTS file? Because as a user, I still get my type inferencing. Vite still works fine because it knows how to gobble up TypeScript files. And when I click into source, it's actually the source. So it's actually a little bit better than having DTS files. So what is the reason to build it ahead of time and have that DTS file? What's the reason I would do that? The only reason I know of is using the library where you don't have a bundler, which is important if you're using it in config files or other places. But I guaranteed have a bundler, so why would I use a bundler here? Why would I build it? That is my challenge. I'm happy to build it because that's normally what I do. Oh, without a doubt. Okay, yeah. I'm just making sure my build works. But yeah, if I add node to this project, we should be able to just run a build. Yeah, go ahead and just do that. Let me make sure it builds. And I believe you can also do a preview, and it'll spin up a node server preview. Nice. Love that. I don't know if the styles are the same. I've always run into this with the node server preview, is it doesn't load styles quite the same way. It's a bit weird. Yeah, but everything's working, so that's good. Yeah. Maple Leaf, do you have an opinion on that? Should I build this to DTS files, or do you think an open source repo can just give you a TypeScript file and you're good? Am I going to run into users saying, oh God, dude, you broke me. My language tools are sad. Or is this kind of fine? I don't know. Because if you have the TypeScript language server, I assume you are fine. And everyone has the TypeScript language server. That's how you do things. Just an opinion. Just an opinion, man. I think I'm done here. I think TS and node modules doesn't work very well. You see, that's very loose. What is specifically what happens? I thought you were having another issue. I was not. I actually forgot to install NanoStores. It was a dependency issue. It wasn't a TypeScript issue. But yeah, what goes wrong? I want to know what goes wrong. Because if there's a clear reason, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Totally. But this was so easy that I just did it. I don't know. Add node adapter. Yep. Deps, add Zod, and nano stores. Cool. And refactor, move, form internals to package. Nice. Oh, wait, I took my contacts off and misread NanoStore's nano ID. Oh, okay, okay. They are both nano things, yes. But it is good to know that nano ID is so easy to implement that you could write a one-liner. If you depend on crypto, you can't bring it to the client, though. I definitely use well, I haven't used nano ID on the client in a while. But if I needed to, I guess that would be a con. I haven't run into it, though, so it's probably fine. But yeah, it uses web crypto. Oh, sick. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot the browser has crypto because Create React app made them do it. You have to polyfill for node 18, works in 20, right? A classic. I ran into a lot of AWS Lambda runtime issues recently with fetch not being there, form data not being there, crypto not being there. It's like, what's going on? And I think it's a node 20 issue, so we may have to bump versions just to figure that out. Lambda's a tough one. That's why I'm really excited to try Fly.io, because I want to see how does it feel to just use a dang node adapter and plop it onto a service. How does this feel to use? Because if you didn't know, Astronode is our #1 SSR adapter by a lot. Most people are plopping it in a node box instead of deploying to fancy runtimes. Who are those people and what are they deploying? We don't know. We just know they exist and they're happily using Node with Astro. So, question mark? AWS recently had support for Node 20. That's good. I think we're actually on Node 16 and we don't know it. We thought we were on 18 this whole time, and I think we were on 16. So we'll see. But yeah, 16 would break everything. Okay, so we wrote a form library, and it's good. That's our thesis. Do we record a little demo video just to put on the Twitters to show off what we built? I think so. Do a state of Astro survey, honestly. Okay, so I think the one thing we got to do to make this guy presentable is some styles. So you know what I'm about to do. You know I'm about to do it. I could use open props right now, but nah. I hate doing scope styles in React, so force in my hand. JSX is a mess, so we have to use Tailwind to get anything done. Ah, I misspelled it. Why are we not getting autocomplete for the properties? Is TypeScript dead? What's going on? Yeah, our language tools died. But there's not an infinite spinner, so what's going on there? Oh, there we go. Yeah, that took some time. Okay. So class name, let's head back here. Oh my God, what's going on? All right, and it looks like we have some Tailwind resets that are coming in hot. So now we have Tailwind and open props fighting for resets. No utility classes were detected in your source files. That's true. There's actually none yet. So let's go ahead and say flex. Yeah, nice. Okay. So flex call gap 2, something like that. Lovely. Yep. And oh no, this is actually, it's doing the thing that it wasn't supposed to do. Oh, I think I hit enter. Okay, that's why. Got it. Our submit button is gone. That's weird. Why is there no submit button? Is it over here? Oh my God, the page is huge. I zoomed in by accident. Okay, there we go. So we're going to say max W pros. There we go. M auto. And I should probably add this to the main tag that's at the base of our project. So let me actually do that, head back to our page, and update the body to have this. Or I'll do a main tag. That's fine. Cool. Class name. Class. Ugh. See, this is the one problem with using React with Astro is class versus class name. Seriously, it sounds so subtle, but that is a really big pain point. It actually is, because your brain hates having to context switch like that. If we could just align on using class in all the frameworks, we would be so much happier. That's why using Solid or Preact is nicer in Astro, but let's be real. A lot of people use React, so it's so annoying. It's so freaking annoying. Anyways, mauto, max width pros. There we are. mauto is not working how I expected it to. Shouldn't that be widening our guy? Shouldn't that widen the boy? Why isn't that working? Are we not getting compilation the way we expect it to? Is it not watching Astro files? No, I don't think that's it. Because if I do BG red 50, that'll probably work. Yeah, it does. So why is mauto not working? I actually expected that to work. Huh. What the heck? Oh, look at that. Okay, this is, I think OpenProps is fighting with us. I think it's fighting with us. I do. I think we have a problem, actually. So if I delete these, what does our page look like? Yeah, it looks like that. That makes sense. So I'm just going to do the normalize? Nah, that's a bad idea. Yeah, I shouldn't be using two frameworks at once. I think that's our issue. Can you destructure props using class? Yeah, you sure can. Because Astro was a little bit smarter in how we did our exports. Because in Svelte, you run into an issue. Because every prop is a variable. But in Astro, props are objects. So you could totally have class be a property and just say class CLS or some other typecast. And you should be okay if you're just destructuring from props. So yes, you can totally do that. And you have no problems. That's always been the case of like, oh, but you can't destructure class. Yes, you can. If it's an object, you just rename the member and you're fine. It's not a big issue. It's really not. Because the benefit of being able to type class is so much bigger. It's just a no-brainer for me. It's an absolute no-brainer. But yeah, why is mauto not working? Am I crazy? Am I crazy right now? Oh yeah, right. We already learned this. So for now, we don't know what to do, so we're going to do that. That's okay. Simple form. Wow, simple form. And then this is that. That is this. And we'll go ahead and do a label. HTML4 is another one that is absolutely awful. But let's go ahead and do it like that. And no, we don't help you with IDs. That is on you, which I think is okay. And we'll go ahead and do some grouping for these elements. Whoops. Fingers weren't on the home row there. That was a little embarrassing. Let's go ahead and do some div grouping just to make everything look nice. We'll even do a form group right now. This is going to be a little component that just returns div class flex gap 2. Right, and that's going to have children. Yep. And see, I messed it up again. Ugh. Whoops. Cool. That looks pretty okay. But we probably want to do item center. And we probably want a bigger gap, if we're being honest. Yep. So that looks good. The last thing we have to do is make sure the submit button isn't the full width of the container. So we probably want to do item start. There we are. And we're going to say for the button, we're going to make it nice and purple. That's an ugly purple. Let's do something a little bit, whoops, darker. And we'll do rounded. We'll do PX3, PY2. It's going to be a chubby button. PX5, just to make it real nice. Okay, and then we'll head over to our form. This is why we do code gen, so that you can customize the error message, for example. So we could say text red 300 or something like that. And now if we like try to submit the form, it will say required. Nice. But it looks like it's not respecting that. Yeah, I expected it. Is that actually red? I think it is. It's just really hard to tell. Let me make it a little more obvious. No, it's just not working. Okay, hang on. Yeah, it says text red 500, but it's not. What? Wait, what? Tailwind is breaking for this component. I'm weirded out. Tailwind base is changing as we're changing this, which is very suspicious. Yeah, what? What in tarnation? Is something getting... What? What in tarnation is going on? Yeah, it's not bundling. Or maybe it's an override issue. No. It's just not applying a class. That's weird. What's going on there? I don't trust like that. Yeah. What? Okay, that's bad. Astro, what'd you do? Okay, well anyways, pull out the cartridge and blow on it. That's literally what I did. But yeesh. State of Astro is also a good survey idea. I didn't fully comment on that, but I like that. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. So let's go ahead and edit this a little bit, just to make it a more enticing example. We could call this username, for example, and because we're using props to line everything up, this should update everything to make sure it aligns. And we could say min2, just to say usernames have to be a certain length. I hate it when TypeScript does this, or when Astro does this. I've never understood it. Okay. Yep. And you can see right there we have live validation that changes what's going on. Not bad. And then you can do something like that. You could also refresh the form and force it. But now we have live validation. So that's pretty cool. We can also refresh the page, do something like that. And then we get instant validation as well. Pretty nice. And if we head back to our server, here's the payload. Not bad. I think the last thing to do is show the error. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll say form result.success and that. Sure, fine. What does that look like? Yep. Not bad. We can also add, we could add like a transition to this. I'm not sure what it would look like. Transition name equals success. What would that look like? Okay, it doesn't do anything because it goes from not being there to being there. So I think what we would do, I think we can actually move the form down. Like this. Oh, that doesn't work. Really? I thought that would push the form down in a really nice way. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I thought it would. I think it's because when you put transition directives on like a client component, you would have to spread the props in order for it to work properly. So you can't do that, but you could do this. You could do this, and this would work. We still have to think about what way... Yeah, see, we got to think about a way to make that a little bit nicer. I don't really know. But that works. That works fine. I think you can even put transition persist on the outer element, and it'll persist everything inside of it. So if I do something like this... Okay, that doesn't work. Huh. Oh, maybe... Well, actually, I don't really know. I don't know why that is. I'm using these directives in every way I can think of. Yeah. And yeah, I just add view transition sauce to remind people. Astro's cool, by the way. It's pretty cool, by the way. Pretty cool. But yeah, this looks good. This looks really, really good. And yeah, let me think of how I want to explain this properly. So we talked about design decisions a little bit, and I'm going to try to reiterate those right here. Reward, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to describe simple form. Let's describe it, and we can edit things if we have to. All right, we built a form library. I know, there's a million of them in the community. I'm sorry in advance. But this one is a little bit different, and I want to show you how. So, called it Simple Form. It's a validation library, both for server-side validation of forms and client-side validation. So it's an end-to-end library that's specifically for Astro projects. So let me show you all the facets that are included with this guy. First off, I'm going to head over to my homepage to show you this really nice method that we have on Astro middleware called parse request. And this is a utility to parse form data out of any request that comes down the wire. And if form data is present, go ahead and parse it with the validator that you write. And I'm going to jump into sign up here. This is a validator I wrote using Zod. That's going to be an opinion we have here. You use Zod to validate all of your inputs. And you can see you call create form. You create an object of all of your keys. And you can add special rules for strings, for booleans if you have checkbox inputs, for numbers if you have numbers, dates if you have dates. All of those will be supported and properly handle each input that comes down the wire. So that's where it starts. You have a form validation setup right here that can be parsed by the server in order to validate whatever is coming down. But that's not all, because when you're using JavaScript, you usually want to have some client-side validation as well. We're JavaScript developers for a reason. We like the browser. So I also created a little form handler here that's able to take that same validator and validate all of your inputs client-side. So you can see I've set up a uppercase form. This is using ReactJS, but it could be adapted to any library in the future. We pass it in the validator, and then we have an uppercase input that's going to listen for changes on that guy. And I tried to implement this using the best user practices that I know of, because validating inputs is definitely not the easiest experience. So this is the pattern I went after: reward early and punish late. So when you say reward early, that means as soon as someone fixes an error in their form, instantly give them feedback. Validate that form immediately and hide whatever error message was showing. Like, this password has to be a minimum length of 10 characters. As soon as it hit 11 characters, show them that the error is resolved. But also, what about when errors show up for the first time? We don't want to have the same immediate validation. It's really annoying when you click on an input and immediately you get an error message saying required. And then you start typing and you don't have enough characters, and it immediately says you need 10 characters for this to work. You're constantly asking the user to scan the error, go back to typing, which isn't the best flow if they're filling out a form for the first time. So that's why you want to sort of punish late. So instead of showing error messages while they're typing, try to show it when they blur the input, or later still, when they submit the form. And there's reasons you might do one or the other, but you want to do it later in the process. So I set up a form input that respects those defaults. So you can see here, I have a form. This is probably a sign-up page that has a name and an opt-in button. So in our name field, for example, we could type in our username, Ben Holmes or something. And for opt-in, it's just a checkbox, true or false. And if we submit this, it's going to validate, send it off to the server, and give us our success banner. That's nice. But what if we don't give a valid input? Like you can see here, this is required because we didn't say .optional. And we also have a minimum length of 2 characters. So we don't want it to show all those errors while we start typing. But if I just type 1 character and move on to the next input, we get our default Zod message that you can customize saying string must contain at least 2 characters. And then if we go back here and resolve it, it immediately goes away. And you can also see that we enter a sort of live validation state as soon as we tried to fill it out and failed for the first time. So live validation only when you expect it is our mantra. So now you can type in a correct bholmesdev. Opt-in is just a checkbox, but of course, we can validate it's a Boolean input when it comes in on the server, and then you can go ahead and submit that as well. So really nice set of defaults, and it adapts to a validator that you can use end-to-end. Really nice set of tools. But you might be wondering, what if I want to tweak this? What if I have an input that needs to live validate all the time? What if I have a set of related inputs that all need to validate based on the state that's in another box and I need to override that? We could build the most advanced form library to cover every use case ever, but it's kind of a fool's errand to build a simple yet complex tool. So I'm proposing that we do this a little bit differently. This is inspired by ShadCN, if you've ever heard of it. It is a library that doesn't actually give you components out the box. Instead, it gives you a CLI that's able to summon whatever component that you want. For example, if I wanted to add a styled button to my project, I wouldn't, import shadcn/button and use it. Instead, I would run this CLI command to add button, and that would copy a button into my code base. It's like Stack Overflow if the answer was always right. It pastes a beautiful button into your code, and from there, you're allowed to tweak it, change the Tailwind classes, add more variants if you ever need them, whatever your project requires. It gives you a springboard. And that's what I want to do with form. So what we're looking at here is the implementation of the form and the input that I just talked about. So you can see we have a storage mechanism to store all of the inputs in the project. We have a way to set all of the error fields when you submit, and also to set them when you blur an input or when you change an input. These are all very opinionated, though. So if you wanted to modify this in some way, I'm suggesting that this form input isn't an importable component. It's actually code generated. So you would say simple form, add form. And then it would ask you, what kind of framework are you using? Are you using React? Are you using Svelte? What do you want this guy to look like? And you can choose that. Then it'll plop a form component into your code base with these defaults applied. And from here, you can tweak it to your heart's content. Like you might decide, you know what? I don't want it to validate on blur. I want it to be live validation every time. So I'm not going to check if it has errored previously. I'm going to remove the on blur, and I'm just going to do my own thing. If we jump back to here, you can see now we get live validation for just this input. And you might decide, you know what, that's like special behavior. I want to do that for like a password input in my project. And then the regular input I'll use for all my other fields. Again, this is your component. You own it, so you can tweak it from there and create your own subcomponents that kind of inherit and do their own thing. Also, if you wanted to have a styled input, you're using ShadCN, it gives you a beautiful Tailwind input, but you don't want to override it. Well, you could import the ShadCN input and apply it to this form input class. It's beautifully tweakable so that you can implement whatever you want to do. So that's what I'm thinking. We'll give you a form component. All the defaults are there. And the only opinions our library has are how you write your validator. We'll help you do that. We'll make sure it validates server and client, but the client stuff is up to you. We just give you a springboard. So that's simple form. It's going to be coming to you in an NPM package as soon as we package everything up. So get ready for that. It's an exciting future for simple form. All right, there you go. That's a pretty good video. I mean, I can totally edit it down. There were definitely parts where I over-explained, but that's it. That's our simple form pitch. Was that effective? Can we get ones in the chat if you liked it? Twos in the chat if you didn't like it. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Also, Braham, welcome in. Thank you, sir. I am Mr. Streamer, apparently. But yeah, that is my pitch for simple form. And I'll go ahead and commit this as well. So I'll add deps in the example, Tailwind, and shore base Tailwind config feat x make form look nice. And there's something unsaved. Oh yeah, I was modifying form. Don't allow that. It looks like I undo that actually. I want to keep this class name, but I don't want to do anything else. So let's go ahead and undo that, but put the class name back. There we go. Nice. There we go. Uno. Thank you, Funs LVT. Thank you. And I'm hoping some of y'all go install this project as soon as it's ready. So it's going to take some time. I still have to package everything up and probably unit test this because I don't have any unit test. I at least want to unit test the create form helper to make sure all the inputs render the correct properties to plop into your form. That rhymed. Input props to, or that was alliteration. The properties. Properly validate the properties. Okay, so this is all pushed up to main, by the way. So if you at least want to trace through the source code while we're working, you can head over to bholmesdev/simple stack. And if you head to examples form, you can look at the example. If you head to packages form, you'll see the old APIs that are on NPM. But we'll update this README once the new APIs are live. Ooh, 0.2. Version 0.2. It's coming. It's coming. So yeah, that's simple form, baby. And I think that's the end of the stream. We went a little bit over, but I wanted to get this thing done, and I wanted to get a video out of it. So yeah, looking good. Was there anything else that I wanted to do before closing shop? I don't think so. We have all of this in here. I feel like there was something in the back of my brain. I just can't remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. That's okay. We'll just close the stream here because I think we're good. I think we're good. But thanks for joining me, people. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are the best. Y'all are polite backseat coders, which we need more of on Twitch. Sometimes you get some very unpolite backseat coders, so we appreciate the politeness around here. And if you want to keep up with everything that we're doing, go ahead and... Ooh, is my stream frozen? It looks like it's frozen. Let me double check that. Is my stream frozen for y'all? Because if I go to my Twitch... Oh, no. I forgot I hit the play button. I'm an idiot. Okay, my stream's still working. We're good. Okay, we're good. Yeah. Okay, end of stream. End of stream. I'm going to find someone to raid. We went pretty long today, so I think what I'm actually going to tell y'all to do... I'll raid someone because that's polite. But I recommend... Ooh, Angular. Yeah. I'm gonna send y'all to Front-End Masters. But just so you know, we have a community day at Astro right now. So if you go to astro.build/chat, you can find a live stream where we're going through all the cool stuff that's going on in the Astro community. So if you're an Astro person or you're Astro curious, you can head over there and see all the cool stuff that we're doing. That's what my stream was for, but that's going for 5 hours apparently today. So ton of content to catch up on. Go to astro.build/chat. We're going to do live stuff. But if you want to stick with Twitch or you're just looking for some background noise, I'll send you over to Front-End Masters. It looks like they're doing some Angular work, which is pretty cool. Oh, the raid didn't work. /raid Front-End Masters. There we go. Okay, it's working. Well, thank you for joining me. I'll see you around the open source community and hopefully the Astro Discord. Check my Twitter and other places once this new library is live. All right. I'll catch you later. Hope to see you on the Discord.